Allie K grew her membership from 1,400 to 4,400 in 1 week without high ticket, just paint and passion. All right, Allie. So I just want to say welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. And I just kind of want to start at the beginning, if that works for you. Not like the paintbrushing part, but the shift. You know, that moment when you really realize this wasn't just art, this is something much bigger. Because what you've built is so much more than tutorials. It literally is a movement, it's a business, it's a whole ripple effect. And so I would love for you to take us back to the moment when you went from making art to really building something that could really scale. And what was that spark for you?
Yeah, sure. Well, I remember exactly where I was at that moment. I remember it was actually the day that we launched the Fresh Paint membership. And it was really just an idea that I had where I had started going live and teaching during, quarantine days, and I started seeing that people were showing up every week and following my little 1 hour painting lessons. And so we decided to shift that into the Fresh Paint membership. So that was January of 22. And the day we opened, I remember I was getting an email every time somebody signed up, and there was a ding on my phone. And I sat there at my desk and it was just going ding, 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 ding for hours. And that was the first time that I realized this is going to be really big. That I have the opportunity, I have the platform to really have an impact on so many more lives than I ever thought that I would.
That's insane. And like probably super exciting and also like, oh my God, can I really, what is happening right now?
Yeah. All the things.
All the
Yep.
things. Um, uh, so like what kind of fears came up for you moving from more of an artist to a CEO?
Um, well, I think I operate well amidst fear. I tend to regularly put myself in situations where I don't know what the heck I'm doing. That's kind of how I thrive, I think. It's a weird thing, but probably a lot of CEOs also have that exact same mentality. So as we moved into running the membership, and right off the bat, we had hundreds of people that were a part of it. I just, realized, okay, it's time to get some help. It's time to get some expertise. So I found some, ladies locally that were able to become a part of my team, because at that time I had one assistant and that was it. And she was in college full time. So I just, started taking steps towards finding the support that I needed to begin to support a larger community. And we have since moved from hundreds of people to thousands of people. And so I've just been building things out as we go.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so speaking about like the systems and building it out as you go, from at least my perspective, it looks like you've done it intentionally. I don't know if that's behind the scenes or not, how it feels, but that's what it looks like. And the systems, putting in the people and the support, how do you actually balance that of being in your zone of genius without necessarily burning out? Because I think there are some people out there that go, they think systems and they think it's like, oh, I'm going to lose my soul in systems. How would you kind of reframe that for somebody?
Well, I think bringing people into your world who don't feel like they're going to lose their soul in systems is an important part of it. So some of the other people that are on my team, like our integrator Andrea, is are very systems oriented. And when you were a part of our team planning our event, you are very systems oriented. So I've surrounded myself with people who don't have a fear of of that type of organization. And that has helped me to continue being the creative that I am, but also, be running things with some order.
Yes, absolutely. So let's step back because you've done a couple of things. You've done um, your tutorials, you've done your membership, you've done online events,
Mhm.
and then your, like you mentioned, Fresh Paint Live, your in-person event.
Mhm.
What did it feel like if we can start with your first online event? How did you feel when you hosted your first online event?
That was the same, oh my goodness, feeling that I had when we first launched the membership. Because that was actually about a year and a half into me having the membership. I didn't do like any big events. I kind of just opened the membership. We had new people coming in. We had people that were leaving. It was just kind of like flowing. And then I decided to close the membership, not end it, but close the doors to it so that we wouldn't be having new people coming in all the time. So now we only open our doors a few times a year. And usually we kick that off with a large event. So that our biggest event is our Paint Week workshop, which happens in the fall. It is coming right up. September 29th is the first day of it. But I'm going into my third year of hosting Paint Week. And the first time that I hosted it, we had over 7,000 people that signed up to participate. And so it was the same sort of thing where I was just, figuring it out as I went. But thank goodness I did it because so many of our current members have told me like that was the spark for them, this $10 class. It was this one spark that they came across a random Facebook ad that we ran, and it was something that like it changed the rest of their life. That's what some of them tell me. Like they started to have this new artistic practice that they wouldn't have had before. So it was really exciting.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so when you're designing Paint Week or, Fresh Paint Live, when you're going into it, how do you do both the high touch and scalable pieces of it? How do you design it so it kind of hits both?
Well, I think that's a tricky thing because when you have so many people in your audience, so many students, it's just not possible to be high touch with all of them. But I've been really intentional about hopping on Zoom with some of our members who are really active in our community. So I have people on my team that are always keeping track in our Facebook group of, who is commenting a lot, who's being really supportive. And we'll reach out to those people and I'll invite them to schedule a call with me. So I actually just finished doing about 10 calls with some of our members over the last couple of weeks, just like 15-minute calls. But it's so good for me, it's good for them, but it helps me to keep a really good pulse on what our members are feeling. And maybe struggles that they have, things I could help them with. So by being intentional about actually talking to a handful of them when we have like 5,000 members in our community, it helps me to better lead the rest of the group. So that's how I do it online. Now, our live event was something brand new we had never done before. And as you know, Shay, it was incredible. And it was another really amazing way for the people that I lead virtually to feel more real. Like these were real people that were showing up and made travel plans and, set work aside and made this part of their life. So that was really amazing.
Yeah, I love how you're saying like you just got done doing a handful of calls. Is this like a surprise and delight? They don't necessarily know. It's not a part of the membership. It's just you wanting to touch base and check in and see where they're at and kind of get a sampling, so to speak, of what's happening in your membership.
Yeah, it was just kind of a surprise thing where we reached out to people, and we just said that we see how active they are, and we just invited them to schedule a call. They didn't have to, but everybody did. So
I love that.
it was great.
Do you happen to have any like go-to habits or mindset things that you do to keep you grounded as your business grows?
Um, hmm, that is a good question. I think I I'm really invested in a mastermind community that I meet with 3 times a year. And so these are other business owners that have similar businesses, not necessarily art businesses, but they have memberships, they lead communities, and getting together with those people in real life. I'm actually headed out on Sunday to meet with them in Canada. But getting together with those people in real life helps me to understand that like some of the struggles we go through are not unique. Just to get some support when I'm feeling overwhelmed. When things feel really big, it's great to connect with people that have maybe gone before you, hosted live events, hosted live online events, things like that, and just get a better perspective of things.
Yeah. And I would assume probably your painting's probably pretty grounding for you, right? Like just doing it
Yeah.
not for the camera, but just doing it for you. I think I've seen photos of you on social. Just I'm at the beach and I'm like painting this beautiful landscape. I'm like, oh my gosh. But you're like, yeah, just having fun.
Yeah, making more time for painting is something that I've been trying to be really intentional about this year, because that is really important. And that's why I got started in this whole thing. It wasn't because I wanted to necessarily have this massive business. It was because I like to paint and I figured I could do that for a job, you know? And then it evolved into something else. So I actually this year started Just Paint Wednesdays. And so on Wednesdays, I don't have anybody in the studio from the team. Everybody knows don't message me. And that's when I just paint. So that's been pretty neat.
I love that. It just kind of like brings you back to the core of why you started it in the first place and remembering what it's like to just paint.
Yep,
And
exactly.
and just for everybody listening, she's got the best swag from the event. I have a shirt. It says, "It's just paint." I kid you not, I wear the shirt all the time because I just switch it into my brain of like, it's no big deal, right? It's just paint. Whatever's coming up, it's just paint. It's not a big deal. Like, have fun, make it messy, enjoy.
Yeah.
It's the process, right? So, total side note, but I just wanted to mention that. Pick up some swag. She's got amazing swag.
Thank you.
So, if we could kind of pull back the curtain a little bit more, we've mentioned Fresh Paint Live. And I've had that front row seat of one of the probably biggest expansions that you've had in your business this year of an in-person event. Let's chat a little bit about what it took to go from serving people online to stepping into the room with them. What was that like? What was that like to bring your community together in real life? And how did that stretch or shift your business?
Oh, it stretched me in so many ways, but we've already discussed how I like to be stretched, so that's why we did it. Um, it was something that we started talking about over a year before it happened. It was so much bigger than what I could have imagined a year prior. Um, and it was more beautiful than what I could have imagined as well. There are just so many steps involved that we didn't even know about until we brought you in and realized all the things we needed to know about. So that was incredibly helpful. But it just, as I said, it just made things feel more real. Seeing people actually doing the lessons right in front of me versus through a screen. And actually, my lessons are not on Zoom, so no, I live stream them to a Facebook group. So normally, the only interaction I'm having is seeing what they say in the chat. I'm not even really seeing them. So it was really great to physically see these people who I have seen commenting in our group for years now, and now they're right in front of me. So that was really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally was impacted pretty profoundly watching this unfold. Going from having we had 250 plus people in a room painting one. And there were rows and rows and rows of people, blank canvases, to having transfer paper and putting, the image on there and then just layering the paint and going through the process. I had no clue the process somebody goes through to make something beautiful and amazing like this image here that Allie's made of this butterfly. That it was phenomenal to see people doing it with you and mixing the paint and having it show up in real life, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't
Yeah.
fall over. But I think that was the amazing thing for me to see. But what I thought was also interesting is when I mentioned to you, I was like, hey, I would love to have somebody with you, like a team member supporting you, moving you from place to place. And you're like, I'll be fine. It's no big deal. Um, Not realizing, and tell me if I'm wrong, the impact that you've made on your community and how much people wanted to come and like touch you and hug you and shake your hand and thank you. Can you kind of speak to that?
It was a good reminder of why I'm doing what I'm doing, especially when things feel really hard, because that happens too. And remembering, like, if we have an online launch that doesn't go as well as I expected or something, and I start to get down and I start to think like, that's it. I'm throwing it out. I'm a failure. This isn't working. Just remembering that, like, the story that I heard from that one person about how her life was changed, like, that really matters. And so that was really encouraging for me and for my team. This was the first time that my team had all been together in real life. Our team is mostly virtual. We have four ladies here in Chattanooga, but otherwise people were coming from other places. And so this was an opportunity for us to work together in a new way. And I feel like our team is stronger now after having been together for that experience.
Yeah, and you're right. Like there were so many stories that came out of Fresh Paint Live. I was
Mhm.
blown away. And
Yeah.
hearing some of the testimonials and hearing how you showing up doing something that you're like, oh, it's just painting, but it's not just painting, right?
Mhm.
It's helping them move through a process. They've lost a husband or they've retired and they didn't know what life was going to be like, and then they found you and they found the community and now they get to come in person. It just lit them on fire.
Yeah.
And it definitely goes back to, when you're like, the launch didn't work, why? But it means something to people.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so I want to chat a little bit about, because your community is so great and amazing, I hear you have like, what is it, a 94% retention rate?
We actually had 96 last month, which is
Oh my gosh!
crazy. Yeah, because usually summer is a little harder. People are usually like in their gardens and not painting. But yeah, we hover right around between 94 to 96% retention. And we work really hard at that. I have to give credit to the team because in like so many different parts of the team have an impact on that. The fact that our customer service is outstanding, like our inbox is always cleared and people are really well supported with any technical issues, anything like that. I think that has an impact on it. But then we are just always thinking about how we can get people activated because they don't stay in a membership that they're not using. And they don't have success from a membership that they're not using. So we know that the way that they're going to grow as artists and just feel really good about it is to actually start painting. And so we work hard at making sure they do that. And I think it definitely shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you really don't rely on high ticket, right? You don't really use the heavy funnels and things, yet your people convert and they stay.
Hmm.
And that's like when you first had your first couple of hundred members to where you're at now, has anything shifted in how you reach out to them and you touch them and bring them in? Has it just been an expansion?
Well, a lot of things have shifted because we shifted how we allow people to become members. So
Right.
when it was that the first year and a half, when it was completely open, we had new people coming in all the time. We were not doing as good of a job of making sure that we were connecting with those new people because it was harder to track who they were.
Mhm.
And it was harder to always be on top of finding the new people. So now that we just have very specific times in the year when we know there will be a new group of people, we can do better with inviting them to a new member meeting, which we do host on Zoom. I actually have one today, and we can communicate with them, make sure that they're really familiar with how to navigate the course because that can be a struggle for some people. So we've definitely made a lot of progress with getting them familiar with how to navigate the website and then just getting them excited about starting to paint. So that has been easier to do since we've moved into this new system.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably also easier for your team. Like you were saying, like you know who's coming in and then you can kind of love and support them where they are
Yeah.
and move them into the community. So then it's like, oh, welcome in, welcome home, everybody. Now you're all together lumped, but we love on you first and then move you into the bigger group is what I'm hearing.
Yes, well, they actually get invited into the larger group as soon as they become Fresh Paint members. But what's really cool is that because our community is so amazing and they know what it was like to be a new member, when they know the new people are coming, they get so excited and just immediately start chiming in to support them and give them encouragement like as soon as they show up. So that's really beautiful to see.
Yeah, well, and I would assume that also then supports that 94 or 96% retention rate too, is the community is now, you've created a community that now owns bringing people into the community.
Yeah, they do it. They do it without me. They do a good job of supporting the new people. Of course, our team is in there too, but a lot of times somebody will come in with a question, and before anybody from my team can even chime in, they have 20 answers from people that are, wanting to support them. So we like that.
Yeah. Have you seen a shift in your members after they've met in person? Did you see like an uptick in the group and the community and the kind of family feel after the in-person event?
We did. Yes, absolutely. And so a lot of people made great friends that they stayed in touch with. And so they've been posting that, they discovered somebody lives not far from them, like maybe in the same city and they didn't even know it. So now they're getting together to paint. But what we also saw was that we had a lot of people who couldn't come. Thousands of members. We have people all over the world. There were many that just couldn't make it to Chattanooga. But what they were doing is they were having their own little meetups. I think it really inspired them to like take initiative and get together with other members. So some of them were even like they were doing the same paintings that we did at Fresh Paint Live, and just kind of like pretending like they were there, and so that was pretty neat to
They
see
made
too.
their own little pods.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. So if we could step back and look at somebody who's listening and going, oh, okay, that's amazing. I want that for my membership, or I want that for my community. What would you say to somebody who's maybe afraid of hosting their first live event?
I think anything that's going to be really great is something that's probably going to scare you first. That's just how it is. If it feels super easy the whole way along, you're probably not pushing yourself enough. So I'm so glad that we did it. I feel like there was our membership before the live event and our membership after, and they're just two different things. And the same for myself. I feel like it was definitely a marker in time where I think about the community differently, and it really like filled me and my team up to go through that. So probably. my biggest piece of advice is to have support. I mean, we could have never done what we had done without you and your team because we didn't know what we didn't know. So it was a good thing we brought you in. And it was incredibly successful. So yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, I love it. And what I love about your story most is that it reminds us that success doesn't have to look like the hustle or just high ticket. I mean, you've really built a thriving business around joy and generosity and community. I mean, you're amazing community. And you've done it by showing up and you've done it with your full self. So, my question for you now is if somebody is listening and they're like, I want to check out, like, what's this whole painting thing like? What's the best way for them to, you mentioned Paint Week's coming up here at the time of this recording. And then do you also have a gift that if they're listening after Paint Week, how they can connect with you?
For sure. Well, so Paint Week is happening September 29th through October 3rd. So that is happening very soon. And if anyone's interested in participating in Paint Week, this is the event that I put on that is actually outside of my membership. So anybody is invited to participate, and it's $10. You said we don't do high ticket, we do low ticket.
Yeah.
But really, the reason for that is I just want anybody to be able to have the experience of being in a community for a week and being supported and having, instruction that will allow them to create something that they're really proud of. So Paint Week is $10. They can find it on my website, allykstudio.com. I'm sure you'll share the link. And Ally is ALI. I know there are a lot of ways to spell Ally. So allykstudio.com. And if anybody is listening after Paint Week, I'm sorry you missed it, but we will do it again next year. But I do have a little free course that we've put together where I share how to create a color wheel and teach you all about how to mix color. You can actually mix any color from the 9 colors of paint that I use in my lessons. So they're the ones behind me here. So in that little free lesson, I show you how to do that. So Shay, I think you have a link to
We'll
that.
have the link absolutely in the show notes for all of that, as well as connecting with you on the socials. So thank you for that. I'm surprised that you can do all the different blendings and everything with just so few colors. You don't have to buy a gazillion colors, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And your partners that you work with too. Some
Yeah.
amazing, great discounts through you. So
Yep.
before we wrap up, what would you say is one truth or insight you want to leave with the creatives or the entrepreneurs listening today?
Um, so I think I'll speak directly to the creative entrepreneurs because I think we are a unique group. And I think it can be especially challenging sometimes to manage that balance between just doing all the things that pop into your head that I have on a regular basis, and reeling it in so that you can be building a business and continuing to take steps forward for what your goals are. So I would say, my advice to them is to don't give up on all these fun ideas, but force yourself to listen to some of the other people that have the structure and have a better understanding of systems, and don't fight it. I recently started using Asana, Shay. I put all my tasks in Asana. Can you believe it? Every day I check Asana now. And for years I fought it because I was like, I'm gonna write it down and draw pictures and use highlighters and stuff. But when you can just lean into some of that organization, it will help your business to really thrive.
I love that. I love that. So, Allie, thank you so much for being with us today. Make sure that you go and you download her free gift of that color wheel lesson. If it is around Paint Week, go check that out. It's totally worth the $10 to do that. And then, of course, if this episode lit you up or gave you some clarity, hit the subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a fellow creative who needs to hear it. Thank you so much for being with us and joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.